Welcome back. First up in our local news, the police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of Kelson Lane, 60 years farmer of Brownston, Georgetown. Reports are that about 9:10 a.m. on the 30th, 2016, the deceased body was discovered with several stab wounds at Brownstown. A post-mortem examination is expected to be carried out on the body. This has brought a total of 15 homicides for this year. Last night, there were also reports of gunshots in the Vermont area. Reports are that a man in his 40s with the alias Fitz from the community of Peruvianville was arrested on Sunday morning after he attempted to rape an elderly woman on Sunday night. The elderly woman is said to be somewhere in her 90s. According to reports, the man was taken to court yesterday. While on Extreme Radio last week, Honorable Daniel Cummins said that when the police introduced the mobile unit in Otley Hall, the crime rate dropped and that he had commended the officers for doing so. He also added that after the officers removed the mobile unit and had been stationed in a building, they stopped patrolling the areas as often as before. Mr. Cummings added that the crime rate in the area suddenly rocketed again. He also said that he pleaded with the police to go back and do what they did before.
West Kingstown, because of late we have been at the center of the vast majority of the criminal activities in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I go back to commending the police department a couple of years ago when they put a mobile unit in Otley Hall, a mobile police unit. And together with that unit, they had police officers walking through Edinburgh and Otley Hall day and night. And for that period of time, crime in Otley Hall almost disappeared. For some strange reason, the police department decided to remove the mobile unit and either rent or acquire a building, and they housed the police officers there. Since that, the police have now stationed themselves almost permanently in that building. They do not do nearly as much walking and patrolling as they used to do. And simultaneously with that, the crime rate has gone back up sky high. I have pleaded with the police to go back to what they were doing, and for some strange reason the police commissioner, I understand, came out and made me out to be a liar. He said that the police men and women are still walking.
For the last 3 weeks on IKTV's prescription window, Reverend Dr. Cecil Richards of the Kingstown Baptist Church has been focusing on the topic fighting the cancer of crime in SVG. Reverend Richards began 3 weeks ago on God's scripture for crime.
Last week I shared with you this whole notion that what you sow, that you are going to reap. And that's Galatians chapter 6, 7 and 8. But I also want to add to that 1 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 4. 1 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 4. Don't tell me God didn't know what he was saying when he said this. Talking to the man. Watch me. Fellas, you've got to manage your household well. Manage your household well. Can't be absent. Can't be for the pleasure of having children or the sex which leads to children, but you have no management over your household. Proverbs 22:6 lays a significant task at the doorstep of parents. Train up a child. Not beat up, train up. And training takes time. Whether you're training for the Olympics or you're training for an event or something, training takes a lot of time and effort. And so the Bible lays that task on those of you who will presume to be parents. Train your child if you're going to be a parent. Train your child. Proverbs 22:6. And then Proverbs 29 and 17. Discipline your children and they will be a delight to you. Now when they go to school and you go to PTA, oh, it's going to be so delightful to hear the teachers talk about your child. And when they get jobs, oh, to hear the employers talk about how delightful your children are. Train them well. So you see what I'm saying on this program? This whole matter of parenting and family structure and all of that, if we do it right, it will mean well for St. Vincent. If we do it badly, which you see some of it is being done wrong, then watch out down the road for the product, for the produce of what is to come.
Pastor Richards also expressed his displeasure with the rate of crime in SVG.
We just can't escape the thing. It's all over the newspaper, every week in the newspaper. It's right there. All three newspapers. front or back or center, or front, back, and the center. It's there. So, I mean, you can't run from it, you can't hide from it. It is what it is. Community activists, they're talking about it. Program hosts on the radio, they're talking about it. The politicians are talking about it. Church people are talking about it. The community by and large, we're talking about it. So we might as well face it. It's here. And it's frightening, to say the least. And so that's our justification for this extended series. It's not like we haven't talked about it before. Again, it is not just for the sake of being informative. It is not just for the sake of being instructive why we do this program. We hope that in some way, shape or form that it will be remedial. It's got to help. At least that's our hope. Some of the crimes of passion has nothing to do with poverty or any other, just inability to exercise self-control. So we call them crimes of passion or impulse crimes. Then we have to talk a little bit about the criminal justice system, because the criminal justice system, the way it is set up, can either be an impediment to the crime, or frankly speaking, can actually be a facilitator. Believe it or not, can actually be a facilitator to the thing. So we can't ignore that. And while we run the risk of stepping on a few corns, it is something that we at least have to educate us about, so that we know what we're talking about. Again, the intention is not to rub people around. The intention is just to say, this is what's going on. Can we address it, please? Okay. And then certainly the presence and use of drugs here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Just this week you heard of a massive shipment going out from St. Vincent. So we can't deny that either we are a point of origin or we are a transshipment point.
Minister of Education St. Clair Jimmy Prince is assuring users of the Canwan Government School building that the structure is safe and that there is no immediate danger of the building collapsing, despite the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Teachers Union being of a contrary view. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Teachers Union has advised teachers of the Canwan Government School to report for duty, but to keep away from the building because it has been declared structurally unsafe, and as a consequence, it jeopardizes the safety of the occupants. The decision follows a consultation involving an SVG-TU team, an engineer and contractor along with teachers of the school on Wednesday, May 25th, 2016. Cost estimates of the proposed remedial repairs are scheduled to begin shortly in preparation for the inclusion in the Summer School Repair Program 2016. Actual repairs will therefore be carried out after school closes for summer vacation. The Beauty Shows Committee of the Carnival Development Corporation, the CDC, is finalizing plans this week for the staging of the prestigious Miss SVG 2016 pageant. Coordinator of Beauty Shows Committee Cheryl Rodriguez says that this week the contestants will be involved in final rehearsals for the show. Ms. Rodriguez says that this is the first year that the organizers have been able to get most of the major activities for the Miss SVG contestants out of the way early, as so to afford the contestants extra time for themselves just prior to the pageant. According to Mrs. Rodriguez, the 8 contestants have worked very hard over the past months to prepare themselves for the pageant. Hence, she is appealing to persons to attend the pageant on Saturday, June 4th at the Victoria Park.
Chairperson of the Beauty Shows Committee, Cheryl Rodriguez, highlighted some of the other features and activities that the contestants will be involved in leading up to the show.
First of all, we start off at 8 p.m. with the national anthem, which would be done by Cacique Oliver on pan. The 2 MCs for the night are Lafern Fraser and Alex Banwell. That would be followed by the first appearance, which would be the introductory appearance. That one would not be judged, but it is going to be educational and impressive. So everyone needs to get to the park at 8 o'clock to see that first one. And then after that, the girls will go and get ready for their first judge appearance. While they're doing that, the Elite Steel Orchestra will perform. Now, the first judge appearance would be in swimwear. They will also need to go and change, so we'll have 2 guest acts, Janine Brown, Jem, and the Melweezy brothers. They will perform while the young ladies are getting for their talent. Now the talent, following the talent, there would be Zamfir Adams, the 2014 and 2015 Calypso Monarch, Manzangi. he will be doing the elements of Zangi. Yes, all right. The next one would be the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Band. The brass section will perform a tribute to Vincy music. After that, the young ladies will come out and do their third judge appearance in their evening wear. And as soon as they're finished parading their evening wear, they will stay on and answer their questions in the interview segment. Now, that's the end of the judge appearances. That will be followed by the featured act, Andy Cruikshank. And I'm sure you know about Andy, right? I saw you interviewing him already. Yes.
Yeah, I know a bit about him.
Yes, okay. And his ability to perform and to entertain. After Andy would be the final walk of Miss Deontay Mayers, Miss SVG 2015. Then that would be followed by the results and crowning of Miss SVG 2016. We are paying tribute to all Vincentian performers, artists. We want to show them how much we appreciate them. And we want to recognize their gifts, their talents, their abilities, and their attributes. So Miss SVG is all local. It's all Vincentian talent on that night. Our young ladies, first of all, our 8 beautiful, lovely, lovely, lovely young ladies, right? Brave young ladies. Added to that, we have guests and featured acts. They're all local, all Vincentian.
Mrs. Rodriguez also added that all the girls who have made it thus far are exceptional.
These 8 young ladies, anyone can win Miss SVG. They all have their different talents and they're unique in their own way. So anyone can win Miss SVG and anyone can go on to represent St. Vincent and the Grenadines at Miss Carnival on the 1st of July. If she performs well in Miss SVG, she continues to work hard as she has been working in preparation for Miss SVG. If she does that and she goes into Miss Carnival, she can win Miss Carnival as well. But it all depends on that young lady. They are winners in their own rights. They are queens and winners. Having gone through this process and stuck it out for the last 5 months, I really congratulate them and commend them. So if even they do not win the crown and they are not awarded the university scholarship for Miss SVG, they are winners. That's all I can say. Having gone through this and faced the challenges, and done so well, remarkably well over these past months, and represented themselves and their sponsors and their communities, because they're from various parts of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and I'm sure the residents in those areas are very, very proud of them. You know, and the parents and the teachers, you know, whose hands they went through over the years, I'm sure they're all very proud of them, because the young ladies visited the schools that they attended as well, and the schools are very happy to have them. So, you know, it's only the brave and the strong person can really go through this. And even if you're not that strong, we encourage you and we help you along. All right? So I'll encourage other young ladies who wish to go in for Miss SVG. Start preparing yourselves early. Do not wait until you apply, right? A year, 2 years ahead, because you should know, you should have goals, you should set goals as a young person and know what you really want in life. Do you really want to go in for Miss SVG? Can you handle what Miss SVG demands? It's a national pageant. It's the national pageant. Therefore, it is something that requires high standards in everything.
Persons who would have been winners or first runners-up in rural pageants were given first preference.
We had practically the same number of persons expressing interest. Many of them say they would like to go in. But when they attend the interviews and they realize the sort of challenge that Miss SVG is, that, you know, they'll have to attend training sessions, they'll have to be present at all functions, the sort of dedication that's required for Miss SVG, I think some people are afraid they probably cannot make the big stage. So a few people, you know, will not end up coming to our training sessions. But over the years, we have had interest from a number of young ladies, including all the rural queens, right? They always say their next step is Miss SVG. Some of them do come, but some of them, when we speak to them, because we give them first preference, we give all rural queens, even the first runners-up and the second runners-up, and young ladies who participated in rural queen shows, once they qualify to be in Miss SVG, they're between the ages of 18 to 25 and they have the educational qualifications. We give them the opportunity to take part in Miss SVG, having gone through the rural pageants. But if they are brave enough and they are willing to, you know, sacrifice, because Miss SVG is a sacrifice.
The Prime Minister of SVG, Dr. Ralph E. Gonsalves, has on the 24th of May 2016 made his comments on the debt impacts that the Argyle International Airport has on the Moodys report.
Well, if you read it, if you read the report, you will see that they're making the point explicitly that the debt profile is moderate and manageable.
Yes.
And that is when you would have had more debt absolutely this year than you have last year.
Yes.
Now, I'm not going to tell you that all every statement of Moodys which they make, every pronouncement, that I'm supportive of their statements. I mean, you notice the manner in which I take it? You ask me the question. Huh?
You downplaying it.
No, I mean...
International ratings agency Moodys Investor Service on Thursday, March 19, 2016, changed the outlook on the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines B3 NP issuer and B3 government bond ratings to stable from negative and affirmed the ratings. The rating agency expressed that the ratings action reflects its expectation that faster growth and lower fiscal deficits will keep St. Vincent's debt metrics consistent with B-rated pairs. Moody's forecast and the real GDP of SVG for this year and next year will likely to increase closer to 2% after averaging only 0.5% per year from 2010 to 2015, and the debt to end at 260% of revenues in 2016, similar to the 234% median for rating pairs. The stable outlook reflects Moody's view that while debt will likely continue to rise in the next 2 years, the increase will be moderate and debt affordability will continue to be supported by low-interest funding from multilateral and bilateral creditors. However, the local currency ceiling remains unchanged at BA3. The foreign currency bond and bank deposit ceilings also remains unchanged at BA3 NP. Let's take a quick break. Coming up next is more local news.